from the State Department of Planning, we were able to get these materials for us to read. So after this, every one of you will get a copy of this and another flyer so that you can go and read more about it. Don't stop there. Go online and read more and learn more about what is there for you to do about SDGs.
Hi, my name is Antonia Masonga. I coordinate an alliance called the Fighting Equality Alliance. We are a collective of civil society organizations, NGOs, CBOs, national NGOs, international NGOs, and activists and young people, old people. It's a space for everyone really. And what we do at the alliance level is we talk about inequality from a personalized perspective. We know there's a goal on reducing inequalities, but our premise is that unless we are able to tell what our experience of inequality has been, it will be impossible for us to actually champion for other things, right? You can only ask for what you don't have if you know what you don't have. You can only demand for better if you know where you are, what is wrong with where you are currently. And so when Arnold asked me to speak about reduced inequalities in reference to education, I started thinking of how my own journey of how I started working on inequality. And growing up, like I said in my introduction, I come from Kitui County, and I remember when I was in class 2, our head teacher said all lower primary schools, class 2 and class 3 people should be coming to school at 10 a.m. All morning people were excited. All and morning people were excited because you get to sleep, you have breakfast, you don't have to run around in the morning to get to school in good time. But the reason why that was said is because we did not have enough classes. So we'd come in at 10 a.m., sit under tree, so that class 1 and in nursery school, when they go home, we enter the rooms where they had been using, because they would leave school at around midday. And growing up, I didn't think, I don't know, it wasn't a big deal, right? We were all there. All of us didn't have books, or some of us had books, some others didn't have books. Some people were coming to school in timelines, in different times. We didn't think of it as being a big deal. Which brings me to the other point. I don't know if there's anyone here who's ever thought poverty is a result of people not working hard, or they're not smart about their money, or it's a way to live, right? We've all had that narrative. And it brings to mind the other day when there was a bunch of people in government who were on a panel talking about youth and employment, and they were saying the youth should start businesses. How many of us have tried opening businesses? How many? What kind of permits do you need? What is the minimum capital of work at a Is there any business you can do without permits in this country? Is there any business you can do without a starting capital to grow your business? Where are young people supposed to get that money? Right? We're all young here. We know the struggle, right? So I'll invite you to watch this video briefly, and then I'll continue talking from there. I think volume say
0.1% owns as much as 99% of Kenyan population. This means 8,300 people are richer than 44 million people in Kenya. That is inequality in Kenya. I want my government to fight inequality by listening to Wanjiku. Wanjiku has a solution for what Wanjiku wants.
We don't diagnose issues from an individual level, and we don't provide solutions from an individual level. We just want to put everybody in a box and then make sure that people work so hard to try to go number one. That's why eventually you have only 1,600 billionaires in the country, because always kila mtu atakuwa number number one. So that's what inequality has done. That where we're at your position as somebody who lives in a whatever situation, or space, or the farthest part of the world, you don't feel like your voice is being heard. So that's what inequality is. We're using music and art to try to have your conversation, to share experiences in this space. But globally, to connect na other organizations that so that was of course to amplify your voice.
As it is in Kenya, inequality is a problem globally, and we've seen that in Kenya, many women are not allowed to own land. Women's rights on land issues should be articulated and brought closer, and make sure that women also own land and have resources that is available and for them. What I want my government to do is to make sure that the Constitution sees that everybody achieves and celebrates their rights.
And the reason why I wanted to show you that video is this to bring to your attention that inequality, there are different stories of how people have experienced inequality, but the challenge is the same. And what as a person I believe in, if someone is wealthy, they have access to opportunities, they have access to money. It means therefore they also have access to power. Last year, when we at the Alliance level interrogated what the government was proposing on taxation, we realized things like helicopter parts are imported in the country tax-free. Do you know what else is taxed? Do you know what helicopter parts are tax-free? But books, medicine, sanitary towels, they are usually taxed. Yeah. So what does that mean? When the government taxes the things we interact with daily. I'll give an example. If you're a mother and you're buying school books for your children, it means you're paying tax. If you are a mother of a daughter, it means you're buying school books and sanitary pads. So you're paying tax for that also. So you're basically paying tax for things that you will continuously buy. So what does it mean in terms of breaking the ceiling of ending poverty, right? It means people will continue paying higher prices for things that they need to survive in their daily lives. We also, and the thing, and to link it to education really, I think one of the things as young people we should purpose to do, as everyone else has retaliated, is to unlearn and relearn what we know. There's so many things that we've been taught that are problematic, that do not help us in any way, that it's sort of, we are just going through a phase until we get to positions of power and continue perpetuating the very things that affected us when we were younger. Am I making sense? Yeah? And so how do we question things, issues that happen to us from a youth perspective? How do we say this is working and this is not working, and so we don't want whatever is not working, or this is how we can fix it? It can only through by extensively understanding our context. One, as a lot of people who are in this room have gone to school to some certain level. One thing I know we have a problem as young people is when we go to school and join the corporate world, we start saying, activism and politics I don't do. Truth of the matter is, that is what people who are older than us did. And if we want to do anything different, we must purpose to use our privilege of education to talk to other people, identify opportunities to engage effectively, figure out who's doing what, plugging into those processes. I find that very many people are trying to create these friendly spaces, but if you're not there, your interests will not be represented. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Very briefly, it's like I should introduce myself. My name alone is a prayer. My name is Diogratius Magero. I work at Emerging Leaders Foundation as a Chief Operating Officer. I also work at a global organization as an Africa Partnerships Manager. It's called Youth Career Initiative. And I'm a youth. I'm very proud to be a youth. And so, as a youth, I have a background in education, strategy, and business development. So when you talk about education, I have been privileged to be a high school teacher for a couple of years of my life. But then today, I want to mention something to you in relation to education, which is not academic. And This is what we call the uselessness of your degree, if you have one. Today, when Safaricom is hiring for an IT person, they are not looking for your degree. They are looking for your ability to code, your ability to build and secure data. That is a data scientist, for example. I had a privilege to work with an organization, actually a company called Moringa School. Some of us have heard about it. They train software developers, basically coding. And in that class of coding, we had a D+ from Foliva and a graduate from KU, computer science, sitting on the same laptop, learning how to code. And after that, they are connected to employment. And the employer is not looking for that paper, asking which level of first class or second class they got. The employer is asking, what can you do? And so today, I just want to speak about two sides to education. What is your definition of quality education as a young person? Is it how far you have gone? And I have a problem, this is my personal opinion, with people who go and do degree, then they come and look for work and it's not there, and they say, now let me go do masters. And they come back and now they're at another level, and then they say, let me do PhD, maybe it's going to help. If you haven't utilized the skills you learned in your masters or in your degree, then I feel like take a step, ask yourself what is happening, what is the gap? And the reality is there's a big gap in our educational, conventional education in Africa. But what do we need to do about it? That goes back to SDG 4, Provided and Sustainable Development Goals. I ask every young person when they come to interview some of the organizations I've worked, what can you offer? Why do you deserve this job? One young man came and said, I deserve this job because I have a master's from UM. And I'm like, okay, now tell me. And he was like, he's done. So my other contribution is the world owes you nothing as a young person, regardless of the shit you've gone through to earn that degree. Okay? In life, have strategy. When you walk to wherever you're walking, strategic. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? That is strategy. When you go to work, you even want your desk to be in a specific place. That is strategy, right? When you go to school, you're more comfortable in a specific place. Now I'm saying, even in life, post-education, business and everything, without strategy, you're not going to make it. One of the things I do and I like doing, I've come here a number of times, is just having conversations with young people, and they call it mentorship, to try and help them strategically think about how to achieve their visions and ideas, make them a reality. And that can be a follow-up conversation we can have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Myra Grayson. Nilisoma hesabu shuleni, but I don't do that anymore. I work for an NGO called Siasa Place, and what we do as Siasa Place is we train young people how they can engage with their leaders and how they can ensure that viongozi wao wanafanya ile kazi ambayo wamewachagua kufanya. Other than that, I'm also the chairperson of Activate. It's a national movement for young people across the country, and what we do again is provide a platform for young people to engage on issues that matter to them. So I want to talk about the youth voice. The Constitution gives us a lot of power as young people from Article 55 that talks about the youth. But the question is, what are we doing as young people to use that power that we've been given by the Supreme Law to ensure that we do good things for our community? So even as we talk about SDGs and quality education and also reducing inequalities, it would be good for us as young people to ensure that we use the spaces that are provided for us to push for change. Another thing I would like to mention is about decision making. Most of the times decisions are made for us young people. We just sit at home and we are told today you will have to do A, B, C, D. It's high time that we all took part and took charge in decision making. One of the places that I would advise us to go and take part in decision making, especially in our counties, it's in the budget process. Because that's where most decisions are made about you and for you. So if Nairobi County wants to do an empowerment program, if you do not make noise when they're passing the budget, you can never be helped. We'll be sitting here each and every day talking about these processes. So it's good for us to take part in decision making. So let's go and look at the budget when they're planning, when they're doing things. Let's be there and give our voices and our inputs. We need also to be agents of change, even as we push for SDGs as young people, that we should be people who push for what we believe is going to help us. To score watu tu kwenda kutumwa, you are going on the road to go and demonstrate, but if I ask you why you saying haki yako, you keep quiet. I want to send you to go and watch a song by King Kaka. It's called Mwizi Mkubwa. There is a video, 20 minutes, and then there is a song called Mwizi Mkubwa. Go look at it. He describes how young people are being used in the society. Asubuhi na mko na kwa 50 na demonstrate, ukirudi nyumbani you have to sleep. but you can't explain to your wife and your children why you went to that demonstration that day. I hope it's going to encourage you even as we continue working around issues of young people. On the issue of CBC, Dio mentioned about it. I'd like just to mention something. I'm passionate about issues around sexual reproductive health, and that's a campaign we are doing in Jactivate this year. It's very interesting that as young people we need to go and interrogate the CBC and see if it captures enough issues of sexual reproductive health for young people. We talk about employment every day about us, we talk about opportunities about that, but issues of sexuality are also affecting young people. Very many young people are dropping out of school, very many young people are living with HIV and AIDS, very many young people are having unwanted pregnancies. What can we do as a society to ensure that we tackle this problem that is also affecting us? Because if your life gets affected from a younger age, like what's happening in Kilifi, Narok and Homa Bay, just to mention, our watoto ndoto zao zinazimwa. They cannot be useful people in the society. I think that is all I would say. And other than that, I want you to be proud of yourselves that today on Saturday, we did not go to watch Man City play. We came here to discuss. Let's keep doing that. Lakini pia kesho tuone ya Chelsea, si ndio?
We have county governments. I represent an organization called Laikipia Huduma Mashinani. I'm all the way from Laikipia. And sometimes as young people, we get challenges. You see how big I am, Cindy? Sometimes we go to public participations. I've ever spent a day raising my hand up, but never got time to talk about issues relating to youth. Why? Because the system doesn't recognize our energies. But what do we do to change that? As Laikipia Huduma Mashinani, we've created a law and a bill that we are forwarding to the Laikipia County Government. It's called the Laikipia Equitable Development Bill. And part of it is that it gives power to the public. Okay? This is where our voice is heard. This is where our voices are addressed. And this is where our taxes belong to. Okay? Past that, we are talking today about the SDGs. And I would like to talk about education. Yesterday I saw a meme somewhere. Ilikuwa inasema you go to university, you do a degree, then ukirudi nyumbani unaweka degree kando, unaenda kuhazo kama mtu wa class 8. It is true. It is relatively true. I've been to campus, I went to KMTC. And when I was there, for me to get, I'm from a very humble background back in Laikipia. We are from a place where schools are chini ya mti. We are from where roads and vehicles are camels and donkeys, and sometimes we get creative and we start doing bulls like horses. So that is where I came from. Then I found myself here. I used to go to Tanzania to get clothes so that I would hustle over weekends and get school fees. That is a position I chose for myself. Despite being in KMTC and thinking, oh, sinaweza enda kuitwa daktari. You know, it has to bear down to what your head is thinking. Okay? I'll tell you for a fact that smartness is not what you get in your book. Smartness is how streetwise you are. The last one, I'd like to lay a challenge to you guys towards leadership. For so many times, we are told that youths can't lead. For so many days, we are told that youths can attend. But we have voices, right? Mm-hmm. We have ideologies, and we are capable of bringing change. Sauti haitaki kusikika. Wacha vitendo zifanye nini? Zionekane. I can talk a lot, and probably we can have another forum. But for now, thank you so much, guys.
My name is Almasi Wanjiro. I am passionate about SDG number 10, reduce inequalities, and my area of specialization is the cyberspaces. I feel it's a place that we are neglecting highly, and if we do not take care of those spaces, let me tell you, tomorrow utakuwa unaitana kwako nyumbani kwa WhatsApp kujenga hapa. So if we do not take care of those spaces, whether we want to face it or not, technology is the future. I also feel there lacks digital literacy, especially among kids and among youth. And if by any chance we're introducing CBC, come on, let's face it, we must introduce technology.